Hello everyone, welcome to the next episode of in the video podcast of our edition. In this edition, I think over the last few podcasts we have discussed something very different in terms of topic. Every episode is always different. So in this episode, we are going to talk about something which is going to concern all of us as youth, because most of our subscribers and viewers are all in the college, or they're passing out of the college, they're trying to get jobs and all that. So the most important topic that it's even confusing even those at the policy making level in state governments everywhere and across the world, because and that is nothing but unemployment. You might be employed, but there is also unemployment in a big way in the country. So I'll to talk about it. We have we need a technical expert. I might be from economics, but we also need another economist. So here we have today with us Miss Ramya. She's doing her MA Financial Economics, and she's also involved in a lot of social activism, and also she's a content creator. So Ramya, welcome. And I'll just give before we hand you over the floor to you. So I'll just make a small topic. I'll give a brief for everybody. So if you take unemployment, so there are various factors that affect unemployment, and there are various types of unemployment. It can be seasonal. For instance, you have agricultural unemployment. So only during the crop season you have people employing them, and then they'll again move back to their work homes. So and this way there's a cyclical employment which is continuously changing, and this way in economic jargon there's a lot of there's a lot of parameters you can try to gather and say there is unemployment or there is employment, and this way it continues. So Ramya, over to you. You can you can give us a brief introduction about your work, and then you can talk about what you see in India regarding the unemployment situation pre and post COVID.
Yes, thank you for giving the floor, Pawan. So this is Ramya Tulasi here. I'm studying my financial economics in Madras University, and I work with different youth-led organizations nationally and internationally. So they work regarding the sustainable development goals and social issues of our life. This is a small brief on my work. And coming to the topic, we have taken a very versatile topic today, because that is to be addressed in a very wide prospect, I would say, because as a financial student, we usually come across all the terms of economics and financial derivatives and everything, but we as a student we need to also analyze the practicality of the subject as well. So here I am presenting my views on the practicality of the economic situation in India and unemployment crisis that we are facing. So as a pre and post COVID situation, if we see, practically I would say that unemployment is something issue that is from decades. It's not a issue that has come just now, or pre or post COVID. No, it's from a decades which we are doing something. Policy makers, bureaucrats are into it, and they are finding out solutions, but the unemployment rate has not been in a positive way, as if we see for the P5 countries or the developing countries or developed countries as in US or UK. India has not shown a positive growth in terms of employment rate. So we have been declining of rates is like so much. And since I have done a small research, and in terms of knowing the statistics, so practically according to the Center for Monitoring India Policy, Indian Economy, which is a think tank based in the Mumbai, and it says that the unemployment rate during the March and April, between that, it shows the unemployment rate is around 8 to 10%, like, which is very less if we think of that from now. So when the lockdown started in the April, starting month of April, we have seen the COVID cases has come out, and slowly the government has acknowledged that COVID has is a a very big thing that we need to address. And slowly the institutions has been closed, and lockdown has been implemented for the first time in the India. And then slowly in the April, May, June, the unemployment rate has been increased. It's now at 23 to 27%. 27% is the highest unemployment rate that India is seeing now. And that is like a very bad situation for us, because India has not seen such a kind of unemployment rate since decades. And the graph of unemployment is like up and down, and like this, because since the time we have seen, the job market has been crashed, stock markets has been delayed, and there is no growth in the market system. We see that everything has been in a standby, because there is no exit or entry of supply chain market. And it's kind of very uncertain for us to say that employment rate will increase in further times. It's very uncertain, because economists have assumed that India would go into a recession again, because finding the statistics and the research that has been done during the COVID period for the unemployment and economic recession that is going on now. So economists had no belief that India would be coming into any kind of positive situation. But as also in the world scenario, if we talk on, according to the World Bank's June 2020 Global Economic Outlook report, it shows that a large number of economies have, even India and US or UK, will witness a decline in the per capita output this year and even in 2021 as well. Because COVID is like a, we don't have a vaccine now till now, and there are only trials going on, and there is a lot of uncertainty that we will come out of this situation very soon or not. We don't know about the certain date or the time. So there is a lot of uncertainty, and really the unemployment rate has been increased, and that is a triggering point for India now. So if we see before COVID and after COVID, the situation is different, although, but the thing is that unemployment, whenever we see, it is a issue that should be addressed by our bureaucrats, politicians, or even us as a youth. We also need to take into hand and address this issue, with coming out different solutions, and coming out with different prospects or aspects related to the elite aspects of economy, unemployment, and business issues, as this cycle goes on.
Well, Ramya, I think you have mentioned a very good point that unemployment pre-COVID was actually rising from somewhere around 4 or 5, went up to 6 and then 7, and then attained a level of 8. And then when the lockdown started in the 2-3 months, the CMIE data which you mentioned actually shows it going almost to 25-24%. And some are putting in opinion editorials and all these articles that it's almost at 30-40% unofficially, if you take around a lot of other factors. So viewers, this is a very important point that we all need to discuss. So I'd like to make a small data point as well. Remember that in India, we are almost like 75, 60-70% of our population is young, all of us, includes everybody who is watching this podcast and also who are doing this. So there is a very this is a potential that we have to utilize. It's a demographic dividend if we utilize it in the right way. And I also to add to the points here, there is something called occupational structure, or the way how labor market functions. So you have a skilled labor and you have the unskilled labor, and skilled labor is almost, say, 1/3 of the actual labor force that is employed usually in Indian economy in particular, because we have the connection drawn here is there's a lot of small industries that are across, for instance, in Punjab and in across Louisiana, all those places have a lot of informal sector activity going on, which is not really captured in the data often. So we have to understand that there's an important aspect that there's a skilled and unskilled labor which has to be the gap has to be narrowed, seen through the policy lens, and see how we can bridge the gap and also improve the rate of employment and rate of employability. That is more important. That is the main context in which we are putting this discussion. Over to you, Lovepreet. You can ask your points. You can share your points and ask your questions.
Well, as I was listening to both of you talking, I would say that I don't have a lot of economic points or perspectives to add over here because I'm an engineer. So, but I think this is pretty much an alarming situation by the statistics that has been given to all of you by Ramya and Pavan. We can pretty much understand that the situation is worsening. And I would like to point out how Ramya said that regardless of COVID, if it's there or if it's not there, what is important is that unemployment has been an issue for decades now. And it has never ceased to exist. It's still there. It has been prominent, and it's one of the concerns why a lot of brain drain is also happening. People here are so pessimistic that youth of my age probably would say that there is no opportunity here in India, so we are probably flying out to study outside, or maybe do some job in some other country. So it has pushed our youth to that level where they don't find any opportunities in India. So, as I was listening to both of you, I think I have a point to make here that education plays a big role in how employment is distributed. Just like Pavan was saying, employability is another one big perspective which has to be taken care of. So, I think, Ramya, there are two different things which I want you to address now. One thing is, which is very prominent, that unemployment has always targeted gender specific issues. It has always fueled gender specific issues, right? And there are two kinds of perspectives attached to it, which I think you clearly understand. That one is that there are issues in particular genders for joining particular jobs, and then there are issues in particular job holders providing jobs to certain genders. So one is this. I want you to talk about this, and after that, of course, want you to talk about before going to education, about the mental situation, the mental health situation that's been alarming right now. Unemployment is dooming over everyone, and it's probably causing a lot of mental pressure to people. So first, I want you to give a good picture about this situation, and then we'll proceed to the education perspective.
Yes, yes. If we go into the gender perspective, as you said, yes, really, as a outgoing student from financial economics to the job market, I do have faced really great barriers in between, because I have my family barrier, even my even my job barrier, because some jobs are not made for me, maybe because in the companies, when I go for the interview, they say that the job requirements are that you need to do a night shift, or you need to stay with in a long distance cities, which I cannot afford, because my family is staying in another place and I would be staying in my hostel, so they would not be knowing what is my current state, where what is the thing happening to me. So as a fresher to the job market, I would be certainly knowing that I would go in a safe side, because I want to explore the job market first, and then set my step into a well experienced and well versatile companies. Now when I have done, yes, there are many job opportunities for the women, but the barriers are like, even the woman is like, she needs to do her household work, even she needs to look out for her family, her parents or grandparents or her in-laws, and then go to work. And even in workplace, there are male colleagues there. Some male colleagues will not be in a proper, they wouldn't be approaching in a proper way. So it is a kind of, we women know the way the male people approach to us, and we know the triggering point where we need to step back and say that you need to step back, I'm very uncomfortable speaking to you. So there is kind of so many barriers that we see in the job market, or the companies, corporate or private or public. As my my father is a state government employee. So one day I asked him that, do you find that obeying the female person's order in your higher cadre, do you feel any inferiority or any thing like that, because she's a female and you're a male, you're a subordinate to her? Do you feel anything like that? And he said that no, we don't feel. In the in the government sector it is kind of very different, but in the corporate sector it is like they have the bossy nature with them, and they are liable only to their work. And when any complaint is filed against them, any sexual harassment complaint or any other complaint is filed against the male person or any other person, in that way it takes time, in that way, in complaint registration or the investigation and everything, it takes time. So by then the woman would be thinking that why should I work in this sector? I would anyway leave this job and go to another job, or sit in home. So the mind also changes with the time, when any allegation is misinterpreted by the colleagues or family, when it reaches to the family, when it reaches to the relatives, it really creates a chaos for the woman as well, to leave the job and to do other works, because women also feel by that way. Even in home also we see that male domination is more in terms of family, because in many families we find that male is the person who is working for the family and earning the income. So when the female even works for the family, but then the decision making power lies in the male itself. So we need to break this barrier that women and men should be working in a cooperation, and they should have an equal state in the decision making of anything, in even in the job market or in the home or in anywhere else in our life. So there should be an equality in the gender. So that is the thing I would say, because after going into the after stepping into the job market now in initial stages, I find it very difficult for me to cooperate, to in
Fit in.
to go into the job, because I feel that there are many things that I don't know, and I don't know how to deal with them in the future as well. So even my parents are in a fear that how will you cope up with the things that happen to you, because they don't know the reality, and even I don't know the reality until I step into the market. So there are a lot of uncertainties, but we need to overcome them. And I think so, due to financial independency is the one that women should be having. So for that purpose we need to get into the market, though how many challenges, barriers we have, we need to face them. If we face them only, we will know that what is the reality, how can we take how can we inculcate them, or how can we get into that positive environment of job.
Considering all these factors that you said, added with other factors because of uncertainty in COVID, and then because people are really scared of not being financially independent at certain stage in life, all these are also adding up to a lot of mental pressure in people. And that's why I think not just women, but everyone who's in the job sector is really stressed about it. People are stressing over, and there are people, the lives were running full on track, but then suddenly COVID came and the rails came off track and the life was disturbed. I could see a lot of disappointment in people in these few months, people losing their jobs and feeling sad. But I think there are still a lot of opportunities, and how you can identify those opportunities even while not having a job, even while being a student, or even while having a job. These days people are not just dependent on one job. Everyone is completely utilizing their skills. They are either into a lot of things. They are in a jiffy, they'll be doing this and they'll be doing that. They'll be having so many sources of income based on their skills and knowledge, which is why I feel skill education is one of the another very important things which decides your future, your destiny in employment as well. What's your say about this, Ramya? Or what's about skill development, skill education, and what is the new education policy? What is your interpretation of the NEP 2020?
Yes. The education system that we are talking about today, I would say that it is not up to the mark that is required. Because as a student of financial economics from a state government university, I know very well what goes on in the university and what professors teach us and what we what will be on the textbook. Like it is a just copy paste thing, that what is there in the textbook, they just write it on the board and we need to just copy it. For that purpose we go to college. So that is kind of a very very sad thing, I would say, because as a economic student we need to be well versatile with the economic scenarios of India, but we cannot always study books or from the internet research and do all the things. We need to be on the field to know the reality of the economic scenarios going on in India. And as the national policy for education 2020 has come, which has come after 34 years, like from that the last one was 1986, I believe, 1986 policy. So it has taken so long for India to come on a stance that there is a need for education system to be changed. I don't know why it has taken so long, because this was actually told by many economists, Nobel laureates and everyone, that
Ramya,
education
I'll
system in
just
India is
add to
not
one point there regarding the policy.
yes.
It made a suggestion that there should be the proportion of government expenditure as on education should be at least something around 6% of the GDP. Viewers will be shocked to know that this recommendation was made as far back as in 1966 by the Kothari Commission, which was then set up to look at education policy, education sector and all that. It recommended the same amount in 1966. If 6% was the amount recommended in 1966, and there have been so many years later, you are trying to put it at 6%, I think it should be more than 6%, to be honest. I think that's one point we have to all look at. So, yeah, continue, Ramya.
Yes. It is actually true that in for education we need to spend more, not for now the India is spending more for defense sector, not for education sector. So it needs to spend more for education, because without education there is no country that can sustain. Because education is the base that is needed for any country to withstand any troubles or any problems. Coming to the pros and cons of NP, so I would like to say something on that. So maybe you guys all have read on the structure from the articles and everything. So I don't want to dump you with all the knowledge that is already been to you. So I would like to just tell you some points. It has suggested the pros of this are like change in the system of 10 plus 2 to 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 system. I studied in 10 plus 2 system as well. And also, this is a kind of scenario that needs to be changed in the education system as well. So, and the removal of distinction between science and arts groups, because the when I was in my 12th standard, I hear that science is the best subject. Science people are the laureates of the India, because science is something I don't know. It is having a higher position or something. When I told my friends that I would be taking on arts, they were they were really bad. They were really screwing up that
Yeah,
arts is
Ramya,
nothing.
just to make a small point, both myself
Yes.
and my co-hosts were science students with in the PCM stream.
Because we got 90%
Oh,
in
okay.
10th.
That's great.
That's the only reason we were there. That's all.
Yeah, because the reactions that I got in my schoolings and from my relatives were very different, because I wanted to do civil services after my 12th standard, and all were like do some engineering or MBBS and something else, but I was really not interested in anything of that, and I just want to go into civil services. So I took the arts part, and after that I faced a lot of criticism that I will not be going into job or I will not have any future, because if only engineers or doctors have the future. That is what they assume to have, but I didn't assume that.
I feel like you're
Sorry.
slapping my face right now with unemployment.
No, really, it is the thing. It is the real scenario that people say, but I went against all the people that I don't want to pursue any other field other than arts, and I took that with a lot of courage. So this distinction that is taken out, it is a good point, because even now the students who are coming out in the 10th or 12th standard, they won't feel that discrimination is going to happen with them, that I faced probably. And also the teaching of the classes in the medium of mother tongue or the regional languages. After knowing this, I felt really happy, because as I'm studying for civil services, I almost forgot everything of my Telugu, whatever I learned, because I don't I remember my mother in degree third year. I was struggling to jot down the Telugu meanings, and I don't even remember the spelling mistakes. I do many spelling mistakes even now.
You mean the
So
script?
it's kind of yes, yes. So it's I am really uncertain that until 10th I did my regional language, but I am not having grip on my regional language, and that is my core paper in my civil services. But I don't know how will I do that as well. So it is great to know that regional language is given importance, and it should be given importance as well, because now India has so many languages around. So we have 29 states. 29 states have 29 languages. So it's kind of, India has a very versatile language scenario. So we need to use it. We need to use that in a very wise way. And I feel very good on this point. And the next thing is the academic bank of credit to be established. That is a very good one, which is like, if you even drop out from the academic year, like for any instance of family problem or financial problem, after a while you can again join, and your credit will be included in the bank, and you will not face any dropout situation, or you will not fail anywhere. So that is kind of very good point, because I failed my 12th maths board exams, and after that I took a long 1 year break to understand where was I going, what is wrong with me and everything. So I lost my 1 year of my schooling. So that is kind of very positive point for the new upcoming school students. And it is a multidisciplinary learning, like projects, internships, and everything will be added in
Yeah.
this policy as well. And that is needed, actually. That should be needed, because I was into MBIPC, maths, physics, chemistry, and biology. But I don't know, I don't I until one until my 12th standard, I didn't know how to do the experiments of
Oh my God.
chemistry. I used to go to lab, but I used to not do anything. I used to just see the experiment paper and sit like that blankly, that someone will come and do my experiment, and I would give them a chocolate for a gift. So that used to happen.
Oh my God. So
You
we
know,
can see,
there
like, we can see here science students and double sciences, super science students switching into arts eventually. I'll be switching into masters in mass communication soon. So like people are switching. It's not that science is
yes,
a bad field, but at the same time, what people need to learn is that it's not that arts is something lower, or those who score less marks go for arts, or arts is kind of a free going field. Because most of the administrative servers that we have, most of the people who are in the higher posts in our country, although I don't look to that as the only future, but still they're all the students of arts. Okay, and I mean, somehow, in some way or the other, they have studied the subjects of arts for reaching there. For all the general tests that you give for the government posts, they all include all these basic subjects. So like undermining one subject over the other is a weird sort of discrimination that should not be existing. One, right?
yes,
And
yes.
the language point is very nice, Ramya. I always stress on the fact that if you're not connected with your roots, you cannot expect yourself to go very high in the future. The thing is that if you don't know your own language, you don't know what your culture is, then a language which is not our own language but is adopted from some other country or some other people is not going to help you like for very long. Of course, professionally, English is very important. You need to have a good grip on the language, but forgetting your own region, your own culture is not the way you go forward. Anything else to add in this, Ramya? Then we can proceed with the next point.
Yes, yes.
You were
I
adding
would
something?
like to,
Yeah.
yeah, I would like to just give a take on the cons that I have, drawn out from this policy. That India is a quasi-federal government system, and before taking this decision of bringing out NPE into action, state governments were not approached that, this is the kind of thing that central government is, going to implement. So what is your take? State government were not asked on their takes. So it is kind of, now there is a, battle between the state governments and the central government, that they have an issue with the policy, because already Tamil Nadu government has stated that they will only go by two language policy, because they do not want to include Sanskrit in their policy, in their policies. They only want to go with English and Tamil. So there is kind of, battle between states and center. So maybe government should have taken states decision as well before going forward with all these things, because now there will be a lag in the implementation as well, because there will be a long legal battle as well, that many parents would not agree with some other point, or many students will not agree with some other point, or state governments will not agree with some points. So it is going to be a lag, and the implementation process should be a fast forward thing now, because it is not that you bought a policy, it should be that implementation should be done within a time frame. And then only we can achieve the goal of bringing this policy into action. Until we bring this policy into proper action, we cannot see this policy having some effect on our education system. So it should be coming soon. I hope so.
And apart from this, I think the skill development, the skill education part of this policy is something interesting, and that captured my interest personally, because there's a gap between our education system and what the industry requires. That's what is one of the other observations which we in different fields, Pavan in economics and me in engineering, we see that this is the common loophole that exists in our education system. What the industry needs is not what the college prepares, right? We are studying the books which were published like years ago, decades ago, which are super senior studied. In some cases, our parents studied, and we are again reading the same books with the same stuff there in it, with the policies that don't matter now, with the microprocessors and controllers that are of no use in today, and the processors which we should be learning about and knowing about are the ones which we have no idea, absolutely no idea about. So there are two things over here. One is that practical education is important. Project-based learning has to be implemented, which is the prospect for our employment also to expand. And the second thing is how students' attitude is towards their education. It's not that schools and colleges will provide you everything. You can't get cooked food and you just have to eat it. There's a student effort also that has to be taken in to improve the education and eventually the employment. What's your take on this, Ramya? And we'll love to listen from you, your personal experience and your take on this situation.
Yes, there is a very big gap in the terms of what we learn from the academic books and what we eventually find out in the job market or the career prospects. Because as my personal experience, the interviews did not go well. When I was interviewed by the panelists, I was of no clue what were they saying. So the things that we learn in the academic, they are like not so well versatile. We don't know how to implement them on field. Yes, how to implement them on field, or as a econometrics department student, I don't know how to decode a language, or how to do some Python languaging, or some kind of R programming. What is need to be done, I don't know anything, because they were only taught on the books and the board, the whiteboard, which is to be written, that programming will be written and just copy that, that's all. And in the exam, just ratamar and write that, that's it, that's complete. That's the thing that we do, we did actually in the exam. I did the same thing, I just cut, copy, paste, that's all. That's all happens around. So we need a change in that way. And by that skill development, I mean that in my college there are many of my friends who are doing the online courses for the econometrics jobs like data scientist or financial analyst positions. Even I have done a online course for Python basics, so that I can apply for jobs. So besides the academic languages and the academic things we learn, we also need to focus on the realities for the job, that what job requires. We also need to see in that, and emphasize on, we need to learn much. It is not that colleges or the things, it is not a spoon feeding for us. We have come to the higher education level, so we know what to do and what not to do. So in this situation, we need to learn so many courses, or we need to do whatever we can to go into the, to make ourselves self sufficient to go into the job market. So I would suggest every person who is watching that don't depend merely on your academics, but do something else that compensates your academic to going out for your job, that compensates the level of the expectations for the job market.
I think given we have all these Coursera, we have a lot of online platforms, and because of that, I think it's easier now for those who are into the education sector to learn on their own and not depend on university or
Yes.
classroom teaching much.
That sounds good. That sounds a suggestion. I think Ramya made very valid points here, because it's that institutes need to learn one thing from here, that definitely there is a need of skill development needed in our curriculum. Just 4 years of degree cannot revolve around basic concepts and historical aspects of a subject. We have to come to the point and teach the technical practicalities of the subject to the children, so that they are more confident. Because then at the end of the day, just having PDP classes or putting up some counseling sessions, or putting up some placement drive preparation sessions just a semester before your graduation will not help. That quality has to be inculcated in kids since the very start of their course. That's the requirement. But even if your institutes are not giving that, then you just cannot go on spoiling your future, right? For that, you all need to come up to that level where you all look for opportunities, you all look for what is required in the job market, stay updated with the news, stay updated with people on LinkedIn, or professionals, or your seniors who are already having jobs, or who have struggled in the job field, just like Ramya. She's one of the inspirations who has gone through a lot, and now she has the knowledge as to what is required. And then after that, very carefully select courses, select trainings, or whatever you think is required. Go for internships. I remember for our degree 2016 batch, they removed AIEEE removed 6 months training totally. Can you believe? That's like the most important part of the engineering degree. That's the only part where we actually get some practical knowledge, and where we actually can call ourselves engineering graduates. But now I feel I can't even call myself that. Although I am running on a CGPA of 9.5, but I'm not sure if I'm up to date with engineering knowledge or engineering skills that are required and expected from an engineering graduate in the job market. So that loophole exists in the system, but you just cannot blame the system wholly and solely. You have to get up, get your stuff done, get some courses done in your interest, and trust me, there are opportunities to work even while you're working if you develop your skills. No matter, Ramya is a student and a content creator, which means that she recognized first, identified her skill, and then she worked on that skill, and now she's professionally serving and earning from that skill. So, Ramya, any closing remark that you would want to give on this topic in general? Any message for you that you want to give, and any opportunities that you think are significant but children don't know?
Yes, definitely. There are many organizations and many, websites which give you the opportunities to search on. And I would suggest some of the websites. I would like to, also drop some websites on YouTube or wherever this is telecasted. Please drop there. There is website like Opportunities for Youth, Notice Board for Education Opportunities, Dare to Compete, Locktopus websites, and also Coursera courses, and also many other organizations even which are giving the opportunities. And the place where I work, like I'm working with National Youth Council of India, we have opportunities open for every youth who want to work in social service sector. Like they can come up and they can apply for being a state president or being a district president, and they can serve their community as in social terms, like giving the social help for their communities. And I'm also working for Reimagining Society, so we have also opened the Global Wellbeing Envoys program, which is like a ambassador program for the country people of India and all over the world. It is an international organization, so soon you can also apply there. So these are like various institutions which are giving you opportunities. You just need to get those opportunities in the right place where your interest is there, or you have an interest on doing online courses or online training courses, or in the social service sector. You need to get to know your interest first, and then step into the things that you want to do. As a content creator, actually an accidental content creator, I would say. I didn't want to do this, but I don't know how did I end up being a content creator by profession, because I was studying for civil services, and for the mains part, the writing part is very important for us, because it's the thing that to be mastered within, that cannot be mastered within months or years. But it took me just 2 years to master that. As I started writing for online essay competitions, online electrician competitions. I started writing for few organizations. Like, they used to load me with work, but apart from my academics, I have done that because I was very much interested to learn new things. So if you have that interest of learning new things and exploring yourself of what capabilities you have in the inner mind, because I didn't know that one day I would turn a professional and I would earn my own pocket money. Even my parents are shocked that how did I come to such terms in very less time. Even my parents asked that, how did I do that in within 2 years of my post graduation, and after my post graduation I am now having a professional binding with the organizations. So it's kind of the thing that you need to learn. You need to explore yourself first. You need to dig in where your capabilities lie, where your where you are lying very weak, and where you have a strong point. Learn it and excel that field, that one field which you want to pursue your, apart from your academics, which you want to pursue as a profession or as a side profession, for a small monetary incomes for your purpose, as a to stand independent. So when you click on that, you for the all youth, I would say that there are many opportunities. You just need to understand your capabilities and come out with the flying colors.
Very true. Yeah, I see very, very young children, working as content writers or content creators. It's a digital world these days, and we're never going to go back to the traditional living. We are always going to stay digital now, and it's expanding. In the lockdown, all the businesses have realized that they have to become digital. So, the opportunities for graphic designers, freelancers is like overflowing these days. I earned for the first time when I was around 20 years old. So it's pretty easy to do that. All you need is to identify your skills. Of course, you cannot go raw in the market and serve the people best. You have to practice very hard, write and write and write. And if you're good at speaking, then speak. Whatever you're good at, learn those skills first with courses and trainings, and then implement them in the market. Go and talk to people, create a good network. I've told this before as well. 2 things that will keep you alive in this world is network and work. Do that. Do your work, create a network, and then you're good to go. Pawan, you have anything to add, and then we can wrap up this session. We'll ask for a message from Ramya if she has after you complete.
Yeah, I'll just make a point. For those who are interested in policy making and all that, this will be a very interesting statistic. So you have, everybody knows that there is an informal sector and there is a formal sector in employment and all that. So it's a report from financial experts, and it's a very important statistic. The proportion of formally skilled workers in India is 4.6%, as against 4.6% of the total workforce. Say if you have 100 people, you have just 4 people who are formally skilled, let's say engineer or doctor or whatever, education through higher education. Let's compare it with countries. China 24%, US 52%, UK is 68%, Germany is 75%, and the figure is just going up. Japan is 80%, and South Korea is 96%. So compare the kind of development that we've had in these countries, compare that with the kind of employment that is existing, and look at the frame the policies in this perspective, with 4% or who are formally skilled and 96% who are informal and all. That shows that it's not formal education is not enough in terms of technical training and all that. We have industrial training institutes which are giving them diplomas and all this, to get them equipped with training in machinery and all this, in factories and all this. But this also shows that we are dependent more on our informal sector to create employment, and naturally have almost 96% going into different other sectors rather than the main one. So we have to think in terms in this way. And there's one more statistic which I came across, which says that almost 45% of graduates annually end up being unemployed. They are not employable. So we have to look at it in this perspective. So one is the informal side of economy, and how do you try to improve the chances of jobs, formal skill and all that. The other aspect is how are people trying to improve their education requirement and all that. And so this is the point I wanted to make. I hope policymakers also look at it in this perspective, and we as policymakers should also try to look at it in this perspective to improve the situation ahead. And that's all I'd like to say. I'll leave again. Lavpreet, over to you.
Okay, so I think we have discussed quite a lot of things. It started from unemployment, went to women rights, went to gender equality, and then went to skill education, then NEP, and then eventually landed into the gaps between loopholes between our education system and the industry. Although I don't promise that you'll be industry ready after listening to this podcast, but you'll at least start your journey towards being industry ready after listening to this podcast. I really hope this helps you out in figuring your life, in figuring that it's not just the school that's responsible for your development, not just the college, but you yourself have to take up steps. And we, the future bureaucrats, whoever is ever going to go into policy making, one of them is Ramya, please ensure that when you come into the position, you give importance to skill education and project based learning. That's the future, and that should be the future for our better future at least. Okay, so at the end, I would like to listen if Ramya has any message for all of you. A brief message, Ramya, with which you would like to leave our youth thinking.
Yes, definitely. That this COVID period, I know it is a kind of very uncertain situation for the youth out there, because they are not able to do anything, or they have some tensions going on, their final year exams or their family problems. They cannot travel here, there. They need to stay indoors. There is so much going with the young minds. We have so much things going on in mind. We want to explore ourselves, but we are not able to do it. But this is a time, this is a phase that all of the world is facing, and we need to have hope and faith on our doctors and frontline workers as well. So let's have faith in them, and let's cooperate with them, because nowadays I see that youth are on the roads and on the streets working for some or the other causes, social issues as well. But please do take care of yourself and your health. So that is my message to the youth for now.
Yes. And yes, utilize this period into introspecting as to what you want to do and working in that direction. I think COVID has also given a lot of reasons to us for working on our skills. There were never so many free courses available on the internet. There were never so many webinars, so many seminars, so many training sessions, speakers from all over the world addressing the youth for free, for educating them. There was never something called CD Bath before the lockdown. So yes, you can definitely take advantage of these opportunities. Utilize the period for developing yourself as a good human, as a good professional, as a good student, every single way. I really hope again that this particular podcast gives you the motivation to start working on yourself, to be independent, and to explore the job market a little more better, so that you get an idea what to do and what not to do. Thank you so much, Ramya, for joining us. It was a pleasure having you. I think you have given a lot of time. Ramya is very busy. Thank you for taking out the precious time out of your schedule and addressing our youth. I think this is the need of the hour. If you have any feedbacks to give, if you have any points to add to this, we would be happy to hear from you. You can contact us on our Instagram pages or on our WhatsApp, on the email. We'll be happy to have a feedback from you. And if you have anything to share with us, you're always welcome to our platform. Pavan and I are always so glad to read your comments. We're always so glad to have all of you with us speaking here. And we really hope that the family grows bigger. Please do like the video, do share the video with those who need to know about these things. Do subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned with us for more interesting and educational content. We promise we're going to help you out in whatever context we can. Thank you for joining us, Ramya. Thank you, Pavan. It was an amazing podcast this time. And till the next time, stay safe, stay happy, and we'll see you. Bye bye.